Hello, everybody. Hello. So I want to come on here kind of quick and just give y'all a quick word. And God has been dealing with me about this word, and it's release. Release it, right? Some of us are holding on to things so tight, and we forgot that none of this stuff belongs to us. So the reason you feel like you lost that thing is because you wouldn't release it. It's because you're playing tug of war with it. You're refusing to let it go. You don't realize that it's not the devil trying to take it. It's not the adversary. It's not the haters. It's not those that's jealous of you that's trying to take it from you. It's God asking you to release it because he has something greater for you. You should never be in a tug of war match. There are things that once you get in a certain age, it's not worth me fighting over again. But some of us don't want to release it because we feel like we worked too hard for it. I worked hard for this promotion. I worked hard for this degree. I'm not just going to walk away. I'm just not going to give up. That's not God. But that's not true. Because a lot of times when we work hard to accumulate things, and doing that, we forget God, the one who we pray to for the thing, the one that we prayed to about getting the degree, the one that we prayed to and asked for the promotion. We forget, and we begin to say, I did this. I got this promotion. My hard work did this. I got this degree. But you forgot that you were up late in the midnight hours praying, asking God to give you clarity for that particular assignment or that particular degree. And so what happens is you refuse to release the thing that you worked hard for, forgetting that ultimately you own nothing. Like, it's God. That's who you went to. You asked him for the promotion. You asked him for the degree. You asked him to lead and to guide you. And now he's saying, hand it to me because I got something greater. But because you have accumulated a lot of stuff, materialistic things that can always be replaced, you're refusing to allow God to take it. You don't want to just hand it over to him. And what I'm telling you is that you need to, I'm not telling you, the word is to release it. Some of you are in a tug of war match. You've been holding on to this thing and don't want to let it go. And then it's weird because part of you know you should just let it go. See, I had to learn at earlier part of this year that the increase was in the decrease. I had to let some things go. And when I did that, and when I walked in obedience, it gave me the power and the strength to do what it was that I needed to do. It gave me the power and the strength to move quickly and move further along in those things that God had already called me to do. Y'all, you guys know I told y'all God told me to close my business down. I did. And in 24 hours, he did something that I was not even expecting him to do. But I had to release the very thing that I was like, God gave me this business. God gave me the anointing to do what I do. And God told me to close it down. That don't make sense. But the power is in the release. When you let that thing go, when you realize that, you know what, this is me and you, God. And again, this message ain't for everybody because everybody's not a believer. But what I'm telling you, if you're trusting in God and you're telling God, not my will, Father, but your will be done. If that's what you're telling God, let it go. I don't care if, I'm making 6 figures. I ain't just going to walk away. Let it go. Because what God has for you is so much more greater. I don't work hard for this degree. Yeah, but you was praying that God gave you the ability to pass the class, to pass the test, to get the degree so it could look good on paper. And yet and still, you won't just allow God to lead and guide you. You won't say, God, not my will, but your will. And I know some of y'all saying, no, you have to fight because you know the devil ain't messing with some of y'all. I'm just telling you that's not the devil. You got to learn the difference. You got to learn that there are certain seasons in your life when God's going to want things. He's going to want you to release those things, those materialistic things that you have accumulated because you have forgotten who assisted you and who opened the door for you to get those things. Don't be that way. Don't constantly keep rebuking the devil because you're actually rebuking God, which means rebuke means to push back with force. So when God is telling you to release something, let it go. Because when you release it, it's not a loss. When somebody got to take it from you, that's the loss. But when you just walk away from it, right? When you just say, you know what, I'm going to go. It could be a relationship. It could be a career. It could be a job. It could be whatever. Walk away from it. A friendship, walk away from it. Because what God has for you is better. If what you're connected to is causing you unhappiness, depression, you not happy, you arguing about nothing good is going with this. And this is the very thing that you were praying for. You were asking God for. well, then you're going to have to learn how to let that thing go. Release it and let it go. And in order to do that, you got to trust God. That's on a whole nother level. You know, that's when you get to that next stage when it's like, in spite of what I see, I'm going to trust you. That's what I had to do. That's the season that I'm in. And I'm learning that in my obedience, clarity comes. My obedience may not get the answer, but my obedience brings about the peace that I need. When you obey and just release that thing, when you just let it go, when you just allow God to be God in your life, take it from me. He ain't trying to make you look bad. You his. He wants you to look like a kingdom kid. But sometimes we accumulate so many things that we forget that God is the reason that we have these things. God is the reason, because that's who we went to. We went to him for the bigger house. We went to him for the nicer car. We went to him for the increase in pay. We went to God. We did those things. And now you don't want to let him go because you can't see that he got something bigger for you. You can't see that he has something greater for you. You don't see that. You just see the negative aspect of it. Again, yesterday I spoke on the eye of offense. Remove that judgment. Remove those things, because when you allow yourself to release it and just let it go, with that comes peace. Because the peace is in the obedience of the release. God is tired of playing tug of war with you. He don't want to play tug of war with you no more. He don't like that. He shouldn't have to. He didn't have to play tug of war with you when you was up late at night studying, asking him to open the door, make a way out of no way. He wasn't playing tug of war with you then, but now he's asking you to release that thing. Trust me enough to release it. And I know it's easier said than done, but if you start practicing it with little things, you know what? Just let that thing go. Just release it. Allow yourself the ability to release. The power is in the release. It's in you obeying to let it go. You can't keep saying, I worked hard for this and I did this and then you're forgetting that you prayed for it. You're forgetting that you asked God to give it to you. You're forgetting that that's how you got the degree, because you were praying and fasting. And now when you talk, I did this, I got this promotion. Wait a minute. We're not you and God having a conversation? Now God is saying release. Let it go. And you playing tug of war with God. And you rebuking the devil and don't even realize that is not the devil. That's God. Because when you sit and ask yourself, am I really happy? Am I really as excited? Is it really fulfilling me? Am I able to do the things that I really want to do? You've accumulated these things. And in the midst of accumulation, you've forgotten that God is the reason. He's the source. He was the provider of the very thing you asked for. You asked for the bigger house. Which means you got a bigger mortgage, right? You asked for the bigger apartment. You asked for another car. You asked for these things. But then in the midst of you asking him, you forgot about him. So when you get up, this is mine. Ain't nobody gonna come and take my stuff. The devil not gonna take it. Release it. It's not the devil. You can't even afford it no more. Release it. Tell the people to come pick it up. Start looking for another place to stay, because I promise you, the increase is in the decrease. And it's less stress. When God shifts you somewhere, sometimes he just testing to see where you at. Are you going to let it go? I got you. But we don't really trust God like that. We have a form of godliness, but we straight up deny the power. I know y'all don't think you do, but you do. You're denying the power of God because it don't look like how you want it to look. How many times have I told y'all my miracle didn't look like how I wanted it to look, but I still stand and walk in his miracle? Why? Because I had to release my will. When I said release it, release your will. Say, God, not my will, but your will be done. Not my will, but because my will gonna get me in trouble. My will got me in debt. My will got me in a situation I probably shouldn't be in. My will got me here. So release my will. Father, I release my will so your will can be done. In that is the power. In that, oh my God, is the peace, is the joy, is the abundance, it's the overflow, in the release of you releasing your will and letting God's will be done. You just can't say it out your mouth. You got to live it. It's a day-to-day thing. It's not easy in the beginning. But what begins to happen is what I'm sounding like, oh, I let it go. I ain't going to fight over that. Because God got something better for me. And better may not look like how I want it to look, but it's better. If better brings me peace, then I want the peace. If better is going to bring me joy, then I want the joy. Release it. Release it, sis. Release it, bro, and let it go. Walk away from it. How do you say? Wipe the dust off your feet. Shake it off and let it go and be okay with it. And don't explain your release to nobody. You don't know nobody, owe nobody no explanation. Why she moved out that house? Why she moved from that neighborhood? Why they got a smaller car? None of your business. I released it. I had to use wisdom. Why she switched careers? And she been there doing this forever. Why did she switch? Because God told me to. I don't owe you an explanation. When you get the courage to release your will and you allow God's will to step in. Yes, it's a scary thing. It's really scary because you don't know what his will really looks like for your life because you've been conditioned to construct your life how you want to see it. And then let God come in every now and again and add some little accessories. But the truth of the matter is, when I let go and let God, and I ain't started doing that until I went through this whole transition in 2023, and I really started to rest in his will and rest in his way and rest in his word. Because then I had to apply his word. Like, you know how we be like, oh, resist the devil and he'll flee? No, that's the end of the verse. Because the beginning of the verse said, keep his doggone commandments. That's me, summing it up. But keep his commandments. And then you resist the devil and he will flee. There's obedience in there. There's a structure. A lot of us want the peace of God, but we don't want to obey the word of God. We don't want to obey God. We don't want to do what God told us to do. So because we're not willing to do that, we're not able to reap the benefits of the things that he said he would give us. Yes, he will give you peace. Yes, he will give you joy, abundance. Yes, he can do all those things, but you're not doing what you're supposed to do, which is obey his word, his will, and his way. So when you get to that place and you're like, what do I do next? Where do I go from here? Baby, release it. Release it. It's not worth it. It's not worth the headache. Release it. I don't care. Listen. I literally had my business. I started my business in 2017. No lie. And it's been 7 years. And God told me a couple of months ago, 2 months ago, to close it. That was the hardest thing for me to do. Because I was like, God, you told me to open this business, this, that, and the third. When I tell y'all, when I released it, and I did it because I couldn't dwell on it, so I did it. Like the same day he told me, I called my husband, told my husband what he said. My husband was like, obey God. I love my husband. That's why who you connected to make the difference, right? And I literally called Sunbiz, closed it down. Like I did everything I needed to do. I did it online, and I shut it down. Within 24 hours of me obeying God, I'm telling y'all, God opened a door. Well, I didn't have to go and figure out how I was going to get who I need to speak to. The audience has already been set. The audience, when I say speaking engagements opened up, literally speaking engagements, podcast interviews, magazine interviews, all that opened up once I obeyed his voice. Once I released my will. Release your will. That's what you got to release. And that's not an easy, that's a faith thing. To tell God, okay, I'm going to let go of what I really, really want and trust you. And in doing that, baby, you don't know what that looks like. That comes with anxiety, right? That comes with all kind of stuff. But in the end, when you learn how to rest in him, the reason I'm able to talk about it now is because I have peace. Because I'm learning how to truly trust him. Don't ask him for something. He give it to you. And now you complaining about it. Or you don't trust the process. Because you're not really yielding your vessel to the will of God. A lot of y'all want to be righteous. You know what that means? That means right alignment. And to be in right alignment with God, God wants all of you in right alignment. He wants your mind, your spirit, he wants all of it in right alignment. That's how you walk in righteousness. You are in right alignment. Your thoughts got to be in right alignment. You got to be connected to him beyond your mouth. Your lifestyle got to be connected to him. Your yay and your nay got to be connected to him. The wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, that has to be connected to him. There are things that we want in this life, but we're not connected to the source. We're not connected to the proper source. Let's say that. We're not connected to the right source that we need to be connected to. So I'm telling y'all, like, release it. Like, release your will and let God have his will and his way. And when you do that, in that, you're going to, without a shadow of a doubt, you're going to get peace. You're going to get joy. You're going to receive that overflow. You're going to receive the abundance. You're going to receive those things because you have released your will to allow God's will to be done. And a lot of times what we mess up at is that we're trying to drive this train. And we're not even supposed to be doing that. We're supposed to say, lead us and guide us in every manner of direction. Release your authority in your life and give it to God. Because when you give your authority to God in every area of your life, wherever you go, the authority automatically shows up because your daddy does. If I submit to God, everywhere I go, his authority go with me. They see his authority. They acknowledge it because we are one. So in the midst of, like, today, like, when you catch yourself not really sure how you want to do it, which way you want to go, what it look like, when you catch yourself thinking about those things, when it's something that you feel kind of scared about, you're not sure what it look like, what it feel like, release it. Say, you know what, God, I release this. I release it to you. And be very clear, God, I release this to you. I can't do this no more. You don't have no business sitting and arguing, trying to figure out how you're going to do something. How am I going to fix this? You can't. Do you remember in the Bible that the disciples was like, well, how did this happen? Why this man like this? Did his mama, his daddy sin? And God said, no, it's so my will can be done. Yeah, that's how you got to think about it. If you catch yourself in a tug of war, financially, you trying to, I'm going to get a second job. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You're trying to do the work. You can't do it. Release it. Why burn yourself out? You can't do that. You got to allow God to be God and stand on God and say, okay, God. And it's scary because sometimes, you know, that old song, he may not come when you want it, but he right on time. And you just like, okay, God, like the rent due on the 1st. And after the 1st, it's late after the 3rd. And today is the 2nd. Yeah, what we gonna do? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's those type of things. And you're trying to figure out, okay, God, I release this to you. Now, mind you, releasing it, you still got to have faith, meaning you got to work it. You can't just be, okay, God, and you ain't got no kind of nothing. No, stand on his word. What do you have? Faith without works is dead. So if I release my situation to God, I'm no longer trying to figure out how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to continue to do what I need to do. And I'm not going to shift in that stance because God is above all and everything. And that's not always been an easy statement. You know, a lot of times we'll say things, but we're not really living what we say. You got to make up your mind that you no longer want to have a form of godliness, denying all his power. You don't want to do that. I no longer want a form of godliness. I want all of the godliness. I want it all. And in order for me to do that, I had to release my own will. And I had to let it go. And baby, when you let that thing go, it is beautiful. In that comes peace. In that comes joy. Oh my God. In that comes reverence. It may not always look like, it don't always feel like you want it to feel. You get what I'm saying? I'm still, regardless, I release my healing. God, this is yours. I can't heal myself. I'm only going to do what I know how to do. The healing is on you. So there are things I'm still trusting and believing God for and knowing he's going to do it. But I had to release my will so that his will could be done. I couldn't walk in the boldness and authority that I walk in had I not released my own will. Because my will is going to always battle God's will. And that's what we're doing. We're battling God's will. Because we saying, this is what we want, this is what we want it. And God is saying, yeah, but I want you to go this way. I need you to go this way. And you're like, but no. And then God is like, but yes, trust me. And you don't trust him. Because you keep comparing him comparing it to another situation. And you got to get, when you get to the place where you release it, then you start to see God even in the things that you assume were failures. You start to see God. You know what, God, you the reason I had to, you the reason, you know what? Yeah, that's why that job didn't work out. That's why that relationship didn't work out. That's why I had to switch careers. God, that was you. That teaches you how to remove the eye of offense. You stop looking for somebody to blame when you release it and you let it go. And then in the release, yeah, you get more authority. Because I didn't lose nothing. Last year, we moved from Tallahassee. The rent literally was like $1,400 something. It went up. We went down to one income. This year, the rent that we're in now is double that. but the place is bigger. It's a house. And we trusted trusting God 100%. And we have to do some things? Yeah, we had to humble ourselves. I had to move in with my mama, me and my husband and my 3 kids. But nonetheless, but God. But when you release it and you stay humble about it, and you start trusting and obeying his word, and doing all you can to be in right alignment with God, the release will bring about a peace. It brings about a joy. It brings about an understanding. It brings about clarity. It keeps you from having to do this. Stop fighting with God. Stop fighting with God's will. You kick it up against a prick. Why? You're not going to win that. And how long do you think he's going to sit and play tug of war with you? And sometimes because you tug of war for so long, he gave you what you wanted. Even though he knew it was not what you needed, he gave it to you. And now it ain't all that you thought it was going to be cracked up to be. And so I just want to leave that with y'all today. Like, release it. Release it. And when I say release it, release your will so God can have his will. Because in that is the power. In the release is the power. In the release is the authority. In the release is the trust. Because once you release it and let it go, and let God be God, and sometimes you want to go back and put your hands in it, and that's just human. And I'm learning how to just, even if I think about it, that's God. I gave that to God. That's him. I can't bring my hearing back. Is it frustrating? Yes, it is. But I'm not going to worry about it because I can still hear out this ear. I had to release it and trust God to do it and stand on his word. And we want the fullness of God and the protection and all the words that he said, but we don't want to obey God's voice, his words, his will. We don't want to obey none of that. No, we don't want to do that. We just want to get the stuff, but we don't want to do what it takes to keep the stuff or to get the stuff. And it's just like, we got to think about, what are we really holding on to? You pride yourself. You did get that degree. You worked hard. But God was right there because you was praying and fasting and seeking God for it. That promotion, yeah. Look what, no. Because you forgot. You was going to God. God, they ain't doing me right. God, I want this promotion. God, do what you can do. God, this is what I need you to do. You forgot about those conversations. And the same one that gave it to you is the one that's asking you to release it because I got something better for you. And better don't always look like how you want it to look. God blessed us, and we lived in Belize for like 3 months before COVID. We stayed there, right? And it was a beautiful thing. Like, I loved it. You know, it was like beautiful. And we didn't have a car, none of that kind of stuff. But baby, it was the bomb. You hear me? My kids, everything it was a simple, easy life. God provided. That's what you have to remember. Once you release your own will, and I put it out there, and I had to be honest. I said, God, I think you gave me these 7 years doing the coaching business because he knew I didn't really have a heart's desire to go like into ministry. He gave me that 7 years. 7 represents completion. Now I have to 100% do what he tell me to do. And I'm okay with that. I'm at peace with that. I didn't lose my coach. I still do. I still operate like I do, but I had to obey God's work. And when I did that, God said, I got something so much more better for you, baby. Thank you for obeying my voice. And I ain't say it was easy. I ain't even say it made sense. I ain't understand it. I just did it. And it came together. And then that's where I rest. That's where my peace is at. That's where my joy is at. So I just want to tell you to release it. Release your will. And let God have his will and let him have his way. And I'm telling you, when you release your will and let God have his, the path is so clear. The path is just, woo, oh, I can see that. That's beautiful. That's what was over there, God? I ain't even know. Right? So y'all have a great day. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for listening. Hey, Mika. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate y'all for giving me y'all the most valuable thing you possess, and that's your time. So y'all make it a great